Yo guys, welcome to The Last Lap. Don't forget to drop a lovely, juicy 5-star rating if you're watching on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hope you enjoy, and let's get into it.
Red Bull then. Come on then. Blake. Back home.
Back. The launch was really interesting because it was like 30 minutes.
Really interesting.
Yeah, it was
Is that the word you're choosing?
Yeah,
to describe
this word I'm choosing. I'm sitting on the fence. No, but at the same time, it was interesting because you have this brand with a lot of other stuff going on, and they did activate a lot of other stuff. You're right. It was just the fact that it took 30 minutes to get to what everybody really wanted to see. So they came in, they talked about the journey, they brought in some of the athletes, which I thought was super cool because that is Red Bull, right? And then finally we get to the drivers and the reveal. But it's Red Bull. If you expect, here's an example. Going through the Williams Museum yesterday, where we were there, you look at that and there's segments of 10 years where the cars look identical in terms of their liveries. You know, technically the details change, but this is nothing new. You know what a Ferrari looks like. You know what 10 years of a Williams looks like. You look up and down the McLaren Boulevard.
25 years of Marlboro.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, this is not that big of a deal. Red Bull is the brand that owns the team. And if you expect them to do something super drastic, it probably reflects something that's changed within the brand. I don't see that anything's changed in that brand.
I just love a different shade of blue, I think.
I love the matte color or gloss colors. Pick one now.
Matte.
Both.
That's not an option.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course it's definitely an option. You have a matte base and you have gloss.
Graphic designer, no. Okay, I believe you. I trust you. I personally...
We've seen this before.
I personally really enjoy the matte.
Okay. The thing is, no, I would say the Red Bull pops, like when you see it on track, more than any other, because you've got that really strong contrast between the two. So, yeah, I mean, it was always wishful thinking. They are doing the fan-made liveries, aren't they? Ooh. There's going to be, I think, 3.
Is it the US races they'll be doing?
I think it's for the US races.
Oh, wait, actually, is this a thing?
Yeah. So there's... from what I've seen, it's like the side pod and like along the nose. So I think the Red Bull is going to stay the same at the top of it, where you've got the ball.
That is fixed.
That cannot be changed.
It's basically like the helmet templates, you know, where you've got fixed elements, but then, they are going to accept designs for fan-made designs.
Oh, are you going to get involved?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get involved.
Can you put the last lap on the side?
I'll sneak it in. I think
the liveries and sponsorships are slightly different things.
No. We do it right. We do it like, you know how Alfa Romeo had a little art car.
Yeah.
And on the front wing it said like crypto on the front, but it was kind of like a design, but it was still words.
Yeah.
We just do that. Or just make an art car and it's just hidden in there. It says
or maybe it's like it's on part of the car.
We say that it's because they will win when it comes to the last lap of the race, but actually it's just...
It activates on the last lap of the race.
Yeah, lights up. And
no, it's like one of them where you can only see the last lap logo from a certain angle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like it will just go under the radar and then there'll just be this one shot where you just be like, oh.
We do it for a night race.
He's done it.
And we make it so that's the only part of the car that illuminates when the lights.
See?
Hashtag
that's the only glossy part.
Yeah, and that comes up as well. Everyone's on the side. So you've got it sorted. We're living.
Kevin Magnussen's definitely crashing into that.
Yeah, 1,000%. That ain't less than 2 laps.
No. But no, it's exciting to see because Red Bull's always been a brand that's prided itself on kind of going against the grain and pushing back. And I guess in part that maybe there's a bit of a like the balance between that and where you've had some amazing testing liveries over the years and really pushed it out, but then in the race it's always been this. But I also think that, you know, the Golf McLaren was so well received, for example. The white Red Bull was so well received.
Yeah.
Unreal. I love that car. Like I'm sure we'll be seeing some more special edition liveries, I think, across the because it draws attention
like single
to these
event
cars.
activations to bring bring recognition.
Surely.
Yeah, to bring recognition to specific events and everything else. But yeah,
I think brands will look at what Golf did with the Monaco one and go, yeah, that's worthwhile.
But you could like glue a diamond to the nose box.
Yeah, at Monaco specifically.
That's really good. And then shunt the car and some Marshall scoop.
A Jaguar one.
I wonder what actually happened then.
That got sold on the black market 20 minutes after it crashed.
Hang on. So anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, do you want to give a brief?
Yeah,
but I don't remember when it was. I just know that there was.
Yeah, I think it was like it was on a Jaguar. I think, or was it on a Red Bull?
It was Jaguar.
Was it on a Red Bull?
It was before they were Red Bull.
Okay, well, yeah. So basically, for the Monaco Grand Prix, whoever, I don't know, this was a shocking idea, but they
It was
decided...
like Ocean's 12, wasn't it, the movie?
Yeah,
Ocean's
yeah,
12
yeah. It was
out.
in partnership with Ocean's 12. They decided they were going to put an actual, like, proper diamond on the nose cone of the car.
Yeah.
For the entire Grand Prix, for the entire race weekend, everything. One of the was it before the race? I'm pretty sure.
I think it.
I don't think it even made it to the race.
No cars ever crash around Monaco, especially impacting the nose box, so that was safe.
Yeah, that was always, for me, that was always a great idea. Yeah, and then whoever was driving, I think it was Christian Clean, driving the car, binned it. The nose cone obviously came off, and a marshal, allegedly,
yeah.
How
dare you?
Got to get that
How
in
dare you?
nabbed the diamond front wing, and it was never seen again.
Yeah, well, it's vanished, gone. Because
forever.
the initial impacts happened before. What's the name of the hairpin on Monaco?
Used to be Lowe's.
Yeah, Lowe's.
But it's a hotel now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't accept it. I don't acknowledge it.
That's
It's not real.
that's where the car ended up, but actually the incident had happened further up. So it's a mystery that has never been solved to this day. So it's interesting. But what was also quite mysterious beforehand, at least, was the decision for Red Bull to launch in New York. But I guess it all became clear. And as a resident of Texas, not quite New York.
No.
But what did you make of that? And what do you make of Ford joining up with Red Bull?
The thing to me, which is not clear yet, which I think is going to be clear, is how's that partnership going to work? Because you've got Red Bull powertrains and you've got Ford coming in. How does that work in terms of manufacture? Is Ford sponsorship? Is Ford electric vehicle technology, which is something they're speaking a lot about and leading heavily into is electric vehicle technology. So is this a platform for Ford to develop that and bring, that high tech to the audiences and say, this is what we're doing, this is Ford now, or is there something else? But it looks like that's probably what it is, but I don't know if they've made it clear. And if they have, I've missed it. But I think it's super cool to see Ford back in the sport. And honestly, I didn't see Ford and Red Bull happening. But because 6 months ago, we were still talking about Porsche.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that for ages as well.
Yeah,
that was just an ongoing thing forever.
Yeah.
Around, outside of Honda.
Things move quickly, and it makes sense from Ford's point of view because you're buying into a top team.
Yep.
My understanding is, it will be a badging exercise for the engines that will commence from 2026. And not much more than that. And I guess this is because I think there is a degree of, why is it okay for Ford, but not, there's so much resistance to Cadillac, Andretti. But I think the main thing there is it's an extra team. Yep. This is a pre-existing team.
This is, and they're not even taking over the brand or taking over.
No.
It's more just a partnership than anything else. So.
Yeah, but it's exciting. I mean, you've got a Transit. I've had 2 Fiestas in my lifetime. I love a Ford.
I can't
Ford
drive,
Transit.
but I'm sure it's great.
Well, we'll go around in the van sometime. I'll show you the back.
Yeah,
There's a nice bed in there, man.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Camping trip.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm down.
Well, it's been like 22 years since Ford were in the sport. They're not the most successful. I was wrong last week. They're not the most successful engine manufacturer, but that specific DFV engine is the most successful individual engine in F1 history.
Right. Okay. So they've made the best engine
because that engine existed for like 20, 25 years or something.
So it's surpassed the Mercedes hybrid.
Yeah, because that engine's changed a lot over time. Like you've had the hybrid power unit, blah blah blah. Because that engine existed for so long, so there is like a pedigree there for Ford. I think I've seen the question kind of, are they? Which is this just a bit of snobbery? Like, Ford, they're not Porsche, they're not one of these super high. But then Honda aren't. I wouldn't say Honda are any more sporty than Ford.
No,
in my opinion.
I think Ford have a decent, a solid history in motorsport as well, across like different disciplines. You've got rallying as well. Super prominent in. Yeah, I don't see a massive problem. I think it's great. We had the Stuart Ford, wasn't it, back in the day? Barrichello drive,
which is the team that is now Red Bull as well.
Yeah. All comes back
full circle.
Oh my God. Yeah. Come on.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool to see more manufacturers, and also with everything, Drive to Survive, content creation, the 3 races in the US. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. And the only other thing that makes sense is getting Cadillac Andretti 26.
Do you think that there is a genuine, being an American, like do you feel that there's a genuine appetite for this kind of, like, for Ford coming in? Is there genuine excitement, or is it just buzzwords that, oh, Drive to Survive, big in America, American manufacturer? Is it just wishy-washy, or do you think that genuinely kind of, like, will that bring more American fans to Red Bull if Ford are attached to it, for example?
I think so, because this is something like, because all this stuff is like, as an American, you're like, there's nothing American about it. It's, you know, it's all these other brands like Ferrari,
Haas.
Yeah.
But Haas is, it's just one of those things. It's weird. I don't, as much as they are an American team, I don't know. There's something different about that. Is the Red Bull Ford partnership more American to me? I think probably because Ford is a more commonplace household American name. Like, ask a lot of people, ask somebody on the street, what is Haas? They probably don't know what Haas Automation is.
Yeah.
Whereas to ask them, what is Ford?
They probably have one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think the general public probably don't understand, like, yes, Haas is an American company, but what do they do? But I guess that depends. Like, for example, NASCAR, that audience probably clearly knows what they are and what they do. Whereas the people that are, let's say, not motorsport fans coming into motorsport via Drive to Survive or some other form of content, are they familiar with that? If they're not already involved in the history of racing in America, do they know Haas?
Do Haas have a presence in IndyCar at all? I don't think they do.
I think it's just NASCAR, yeah.
Because even if you're coming from a formula following in the States where IndyCar is the closest thing, you're not going to necessarily. I do find that interesting, because Haas, if anything, Haas are more Italian than anything, because they've got their engineering base in Maranello. Literally, they just took loads of Ferrari stuff, like Simone Resta and loads of other, went to Haas. Yeah. They've got their satellite base. And even Andretti Cadillac, they're talking about having their engineering base in the UK.
Which makes sense for all those teams.
Yeah. Because everyone, we were talking about this yesterday, so like everyone, you know people who have worked for 3-4 different teams, like everyone kind of, the total pool of people isn't that big. No. Like, do you think if Cadillac Andretti was to go ahead, would they be able to eventually, because they're building that big new base in Fisher near Indiana, and it's like, do you think they would be able to get to a stage where they could actually fully be, like, everything's based out of the States? It's just about the talent, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about the talent. And honestly, like, at the end of the day, you would probably end up, you're not just going to start a brand new team with people that don't have Formula One experience from an engineering or whatever background.
And by the way, like, you came to the UK.
Yeah.
Like, you come from the States.
Yeah, I had to come here to get a job because there were no teams. I mean, there was USF1 being around, but that never made it. But it was like, yeah, they were building a base there. But I think, all right, you've got half the calendar in Europe. Those races are back to back. So if you have a team operating out of the US, I think most of these teams are going to have bases in the UK or Italy or somewhere else.
I think it's also you've got the talent being, or as I say, the talent. You've got like the people who are sort of experienced in Formula One in Europe predominantly as well, but also a lot of the calendar as well. Like unless you've got 3 American Grand Prix now, and then a couple more in sort of Central or South America as well. But like the majority of the calendar is still in Europe for a lot of the season. So just logistically as well, that would be kind of maybe a little bit of a challenge too. I don't know.
Yeah, like all those, like for example, the way the Formula One calendar works as well is at those flyaway races, you have all these logistics where, DHL or whoever the air freight is, there's crates showing up that go on a commercial airliner with all the cars and, equipment that there's one off of, the stuff that's not sea freighted. That's coming in and out, and then you'd have to have an American team with their own logistics set for getting in and out of European races, which would be not impossible, but an interesting and expensive challenge. But most of the places would have a team in the UK, and one thing I've noticed, like at teams where, for example, you're back in the day at Force India, the wind tunnel or the aerodynamic staff and everybody else were separate factories, and that was. I don't know that it made massive problems, but it's definitely awkward when you can't sit in the same room and have a meeting. Now we've got Zoom, Teams, and all the other stuff, which helps bring it closer because you can have a face-to-face call, which I wish people could just go back to picking up their phones and calling me. Don't call me on video. I'm turning that off. But at the same time,
I want to be in my pajamas.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm not dressed to take this call. You don't need to know that. You don't need to see that.